Let's go ahead and look at quick. This is kind of the takeouts of these students. But you heard these students answer the question: what is STEM, and what would make STEM more important or more relevant to their lives? And it says right there what they've learned. By the way, Louis, you can strike up the band here because I don't think there's much music. There you go. Look, there's two musicians. These two kids want to be musicians. This is so cool. Louis, you know when I go like this? No, I'm just kidding. They were having music as well, so I apologize. But those kids, this whole video, by the way, was put together by the Bernalillo Computer Clubhouse. And the clubhouses at Intel happen to be in places that are underserved. And the way it's happening in Bernalillo, they put it on the high school campuses, and they've actually changed the bus schedule so the kids can stay later after school to do some of their homework, first of all. Several kids actually are at the Intel International Science Fair next week. And they started in the clubhouse. And if they hadn't gone to the clubhouse, they would have had no mentors and nothing. And I think this is what we're about here too, right? With respect to the web and the access to the things we have and the tools. And I'd like to introduce Peter Levi, is that correct? Yeah. And you represent curriki.org. And I do have, let's see, I'll look it up, but I have your web page right here. And it looks pretty intriguing. So what's...
Curriki.org is a nonprofit that is designed to do two things. It's to create a shared space of open educational resources for K through 12. We now have about 25,000 pieces of Creative Commons curriculum across the curriculum that's all free and open source. And we're also a community of educators that come and they build collections of those free resources. They upload additional content to add to those collections, and they can work in our free groups technology to build new curriculum in either a closed environment where it's just those people in the group, or in an open environment where anybody can come and join and build new curriculum and then share that with our community. There's about 70,000 registered members of the site so far, and I'm here in New Mexico to talk a little bit about making Curriki a central repository for all of the STEM content across the state of New Mexico.
So that's like learning objects, so educators contributing to it?
Yeah, it's everything from individual lesson plans to units of study to full courses. We have dozens of full courses, many in math, science, and technology fields, from the National Repository of Online Courses, from MIT, from a number of other universities that are all relevant for K through 12. And the site can host any file format. So we have a lot of video, a lot of simulations and multimedia, a lot of PowerPoint presentations. It's a very versatile tool.
It sounds very rich. You know, one thing we talked about, and I heard today too, is we tend to focus on, you know, four-year schools. And not every student's going to do a four-year school, right? And Sharon, I think carveyourpath.org is kind of that element that brings into it. And I'd appreciate if you could explain to us how this works. This is really cool.
Sure. I'm Sharon Oisby. I'm the Executive Director of the College Success Network, and I've had the unique pleasure to, first off, learn about education in New Mexico. I'm not originally from New Mexico, and through my post-secondary career, I learned about a lot of the needs that New Mexico has and the diversity. You know, when you're from California, you think you're diverse, and then when you come to New Mexico, you learn what diversity really means. And so through that education, I had this opportunity to be a part of the College Success Network, and there was a movement that started with a lot of other activities. A lot of people in New Mexico, have been a lot of hard work, a lot of sweat, a lot of physical brain power and all of that to try to identify how to start to bridge some of the gaps between both the activities, so college access programs or other programs that are out there, and the students that are in their respective areas, and how can those activities make the learning experience a little bit more invigorating, as well as keeping them in their path. And so the College Success Network partnered with some other very large organizations like New Mexico Student Loans, who does a big chunk of our outreach in the state with regards to financial literacy in higher education, as well as the Public Education Department, the Higher Education Department, the Forum for Youth and Community, which really focuses on a very community-based piece. But in identifying, and also the Counseling Association of New Mexico, in identifying where our gaps are in the sense where we're losing our students, and the identifier was that middle school was really one of those areas. And so it stemmed this kind of 3-year activity of discussion around how can we bring together the resources that the students need without them having to go through a treasure hunt, if you will, without them having to really, truly have to, hunt through the forest to try to find those resources out there for them. And so where we're at today is we were able to collectively come to a common ground through having a couple activities, workshops, bringing in experts and leaders in their respective areas throughout the whole entire state through a roundtable to identify what the key, really the key tool would be to be able to do this. And of course, everyone was leaning towards technology.
Sure, sure.
And so once we identified that people wanted to have this centralized location of information, it was, okay, well now they've told us what they want, now we've got to figure out how we're going to provide that to them.
Right.
And we went after if those are familiar, the College Access Challenge Grant. The higher ed was deemed the recipient of it, and College Success Network, because of our production of the College Bulletin, we're able to also bring some value to the table in the sense of a one-stop shop. So the Carve Your Path initiative, or .org, it's actually a combination of both state leadership and investment, and also nonprofit college access programs, and also industry for that matter, who are really wanting to sit at the table to say, how can we also be a part of this, because we have great resources, so how can those become a part of what you're doing? So in turn with even Ideal New Mexico is how do we kind of bring together the pieces that New Mexico has and start to build them really from this very grassroots level. I mean, obviously when you have the state agencies involved, it's all very high level, but really, truly, it's not. It's very grassroots. It's a very grassroots campaign, and we're really hoping that.
And since you're on the advisory board, I think yesterday we talked and agreed that we need really a dual strategy. There's always a grassroots and there's always a top-down. There needs to be that leadership, that framework, right? In higher ed, Bill, what are some of your thoughts in terms of how you kind of integrate technology and how you're going to help us make higher education maybe more efficient?
Yes, thank you for the opportunity to answer that, and I'll do so in a minute with some questions to the audience. But first, thanks to you and Jami and Jami.
Jami and Jami.
Jami Jami?
So she left, yeah.
Okay, I was trying to say it fast enough that she wouldn't notice that. But at any rate, we thank you for the opportunity to be here. My colleague Mike Hommel's in the office. I think he's in the audience.
He's doing the real work. We're just having fun.
He works New Mexico, and so we appreciate the chance to be here, not only to talk to a number of our client colleges and universities who are here,